As we close the colloquium, today we will have remarks by Lee Perez. And last October, it was announced that Lee Perez had been selected as 2022 Nebraska Teacher of the Year. The Teacher of the Year program recognizes the contribution of classroom teachers who are exceptionally dedicated, knowledgeable, skilled, and who have the ability to inspire students of all backgrounds and abilities to learn. Perez has been a teacher for 13 years. He began his teaching career at Mars Magnet Middle School in Omaha, where he taught until 2019. He then moved to Alice Buffett Magnet Middle School, where he currently teaches 5th to 8th grade English as a second language. In the classroom, he faces the challenges of teaching ESL by taking a comprehensive approach where he combines culturally responsive teaching and language learning engagement strategies. In doing this, Perez teaches his students a new language, but also a new culture, while celebrating their own backgrounds and cultures in the classroom. His excellence in teaching has been recognized through teaching awards and features in several publications. Perez is also an active community member. He belongs to many organizations and committees, including the Omaha Education Association Metro Board, the Nebraska State Education Association, and the English Learner Curriculum Pathway Committee for Omaha Public Schools. We are grateful to Lee for being with us today in closing this event. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you so much for having me. And one thing that was not mentioned in the press release was I was the first male Latino ELL teacher to win Nebraska Teacher of the Year, and I'm going to make it my fervent mission to not be the last. So thank you for having me. Again, my name is Lee Perez. I teach ESL at Alice Buffett Magnet Middle School, and I'm Nebraska Teacher of the Year for 2022. So let's get started. All right, so these are my babies right here. This is my why. These are my fabulous, fabulous English language learners at Alice Buffett Magnet Middle School in Northwest Omaha. In this picture, you will see several different countries. You will see Costa Rica, you will see Tajikistan, you will see Afghanistan, and you will see multiple languages spoken. But I know that there's a lot of negativity going around with the teaching profession today. So my job today is to reassure everyone here, regardless of whether you're teaching at a university, a school, or in a community organization, you are in the right profession. And yes, you absolutely will make a difference in the lives of anybody you cross paths with. So again, this is my why right here, my babies. All right, so I actually wrote an acrostic poem with teacher. So what does teacher mean to me, and what does teacher or educator can it mean to you? So to me, teacher means teaching empowerment as culturally open-minded human beings eager to reach all our diverse students. And I mean all our diverse students. So one of the ways I did this was I empowered my students to do a story circle on equity. What is equity? What are examples of equity? What does equity look like in school? And what does equity look like outside of school? Yes. And I will eventually share this with everybody. It's on my YouTube page. It's a 36-minute video that me and two of my English learners did during the Omaha Public Schools Contracts Minnesota Humanities. And we did a story circle and an academic conversation on equity. And it was just absolutely amazing. And it will absolutely make your day if you're having a bad day. So when I come home and I'm having kind of a rough day, I watch bits and pieces of this because it reassures me that yes, what I'm doing in the classroom with my kiddos, despite all the obstacles that are going on, is absolutely 110% making a difference. So that is teacher to me. And I hope that this is teacher to you too. So my message today for all of you, regardless of what sector of education you teach in, is 3 really bullet points I want to go through. And that is empowerment, that is inspiration, and finally, that is hope. So let us begin. So empowerment. So this is actually a quote from my Nebraska Teacher of the Year application that I submitted because it asked me what my message was. And I said, good teaching isn't always about effective lesson planning, data, assessments, or observations with administrators. It's about empowering our students to strive to be the best versions of themselves, socially, emotionally, intellectually, and academically. And if I will, the social emotional part right now, in my opinion, is absolutely critical in education today. Our babies are struggling with trauma, depression, and anger. This pandemic, as you know, has exposed many inequities and everything that is wrong with the United States of America. So please, the social emotional learning of our students right now should be focused one, and curriculum should be focused two. But here is a letter that one of my English learners wrote to Mayor Gene Stothert of Omaha. And one piece of empowerment is giving students voice, giving students a chance to express their opinions and use their voice for collective change. And so I had my English learners read an article from the Omaha World Herald that talked about wheelchair accessibility. And they looked at the article and they wrote Mayor Gene Stothert letters basically describing how Omaha can be more equitable and help with wheelchair accessibility in Omaha. And it was very, very empowering to them, and it gave them a voice, and it uplifted them, and it really, really boosted their confidence. And I've never, ever been so proud of my kiddos. But please, please focus on the social emotional first, and then the academics second, because right now times are tough and our babies are struggling, and we need to be there for them as human beings, just as much as we need to be there as teachers and professors, community organizers, social justice advocates, whatever important role you play in society. My second piece is inspiration. So as Nebraska Teacher of the Year, I'm constantly asked the question about the teacher shortage and things that are going on in education right now. And the one thing that I can say is people will always ask me about that. So I always give them one very, very important piece of advice, and that is to please stay off social media, because social media is painting this very, very biased narrative picture of what education and teaching is today. So this is actually an email that I got from one of the colleges that I did a public speaking engagement at. And it really hit me because when you read this, it actually just kind of says that, hey, it was nice and rejuvenating to hear the other side of the story with teaching and education, because over the past couple of years, all I've heard was the negative. And I actually remember who wrote this because I actually talked to them a little bit after my speech, and they said it was just really, really refreshing to hear you uplift the profession and provide positive examples of how we could affect change in public schools with our children. Here's another one. This comes from a person that came from a small town, not very open-minded with things. So when I went over examples of culturally responsive teaching, diversity, equity, and inclusion training, they basically said, I didn't realize that language and culture were one of those things that are the same and not separate from each other. And they basically said, I will work hard to be tolerant and inclusive with the diverse student populations in my classroom. And it was nice to hear that from somebody that came from a small town where there was not a lot of diversity and that wants to go into schools that have diversity now. So there is power in words. There's absolutely power in words. So those are two inspirational things that I received that really, really said that my job as Nebraska Teacher of the Year is more important now than probably any Nebraska Teacher of the Year in the history of the award program. Also, there's some hope, inspiration of hope. So this young lady right here is a student that's getting ready to do her student teaching. And as you may know, or as you may not know, I am the first person in my family to graduate college, breaking many generational curses. So she came up to me and she said, you know, I'm getting ready to graduate from college. I'm getting ready to break that generational curse like you. I can empathize with you. And so then she sent me this letter, and I'm actually trying to place her in my classroom to student teach. And she just said that, you know, with all the negativity that we're hearing as education majors, again, it was just refreshing to hear you come speak and empower us to want to go in the classrooms and want to make that collective change that is needed so bad for our kiddos right now. And it's just so nice to see someone paint the positive instead of the negative. And again, there is power in words. And she said, you gave me hope. You gave me hope to keep pushing forward despite all the obstacles and challenges that I have faced in my life. And now I am one step closer from my dream. And it's incredible. But that, again, that is the same impact that we can have on our students in our classrooms. So words matter, okay? So these are two quotes that I really, really want you to take in, and I want you to think about. I want it to resonate with you, and I want it to really soak in, and I want you to apply it. The more you hang around toxic behavior, the more appropriate that toxic behavior will become. And it's nice to be great, but it's far greater to be nice. So I really want you to take those quotes because words absolutely matter. Again, if all you're around is toxic negativity and toxic behavior and things that just paint education in a bad light, eventually you're going to start to mimic many of those behaviors and think that's how education is. Now, I'm not saying that everything right now is perfect. It is far from it. But what I will say is that if we do not go out and use our voices for change, then what are we doing? If there is no good in the world, go out and create it. If there is no positivity in the world, go out and create it. If there is no inspiration in the world, go out and create it. If there is no empowerment in the world, please go out and create it. Our president, John F. Kennedy, once said, ask not what you can do for your country, or ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Well, right now, schools are so focused on what can our students do for test scores? What can our students do for this and student achievement? Well, I say ask not what our students can do for us, but what we, as the collective good of the community and educators, can do for our students, because right now they are hurting. And the second quote, it's pretty simple. No matter how great you are in life, no matter what you do, no matter how many awards you get, no matter how many fabulous presentations you give, it's always far greater to be nice in life, no matter where you come from. So I want to tell you a story about some human connections right now. And this kind of ties into my quote of ask not what students can do for us, but what we can do for our students. So recently, I received 2 students from Honduras, and we are preparing to do our English language proficiency assessment for the 21st century, our ELPA 21 test, which is required by the state of Nebraska as an English language proficiency exam through the Nebraska Department of Education. So I had this amazing lesson planned out. I had this great lesson planned out, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get my kids ready for this state test, and I'm trying to make sure that they're reaching their goals and that the data looks good and all that stuff. And I noticed one of my students crying. I mean, just really, really sobbing and crying and being emotional. And I just took a step back. I just took a step back and I said to myself, put the lesson aside, put the instruction aside, put the data aside, and focus on your most valuable asset, and that is your student. And I remember her telling me that she had a really, really rough trip to this country, and that she missed her family, and that she missed her father, and that she felt like her English wasn't good enough. She felt like she was lost and confused. And I just gave her a hug and I said, you are family here. You are valued, you matter, you're loved, and you're cared for. And I remember just the remainder of the lesson, I just read the room and we just sat around and we told stories. And I empowered her, I inspired her, and I gave her hope. And I said, you know, your English is improving. You're a very nice young lady, and we are so happy to have you in our school. And I've never seen a kid's eyes light up so much. So again, words matter. I would argue right now that more teachers are needed. More teachers are needed that can make that human connection, because right now our kids are struggling and we need to be there for them. So I share that story with you to hopefully give you the inspiration and the hope that even though things are tough right now, we need to continue to fight for the collective good and move forward. So these are some of the languages that are spoken in my classroom at Alice Buffett Magnet Middle School. Now, as you can see, it's a plethora of languages, and my group is very cosmopolitan and very diverse, and I absolutely love it. But no matter what language you speak, the language of love is a language we can all speak. It's a language we can all understand, and it's a language we should all be applying to all students. The language of love. No matter how many languages you speak, please, my message to you today is speak the language of love, because that is a language that is universal for all people. So here is my contact information. Here's my school email. Here's my personal email. Here's my Twitter. Please follow me at Language Perez. This is the link to my website. And then this is my QR code for my website. So I'll give you a few minutes if you want to take pictures or anything. And then finally, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me. And this picture is a picture of me and two of my English language learners when I was teaching in the dual language program at Mars. We were at Lawrence and Gardens. These kids, they grow up fast. Both of these amazing young ladies are juniors in high school. And it's just awesome to see these kids grow up and just know that they're just going to make an absolutely positive change on the world. So I just want to say thank you very much. I just want to let you know that all of your jobs are so important right now, and keep pushing forward. But remember, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. And please reach out to family, friends, loved ones, and professionals if you need help on anything. Because again, I've struggled with my own depression and my own trauma, and I'm getting help on that right now. And that's the first step, because right now things are tough. But I just want to let you know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we will all get through this together collectively. But please, the language of love, please speak it. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a fabulous Saturday, and you all matter. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lee. And thank you, everyone, our participants and our presenters. Thank you so much for your presentations today and the knowledge and the inspiration you have shared with us. Now, just a quick announcement. We will be hosting a webinar or workshop about film in language instruction coming up soon in May. So stay tuned. We'll be posting details in our website. Thank you, everyone, and have a great afternoon.